The new John Wick was really good. It was just very long. I don't think that's necessarily even a bad thing. I hope this series goes maybe not quite as long as John Wick 4, but like in spirit, I hope this is a nice long series. Because a nice long ZVZ between these two sounds pretty damn amazing. Now let's hop into game one here. We are spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Gresvan. We got this red Zerg here for Dragon Kitesy Gaming. It's dark. And his opponent in the upper left-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion in the blue. It's Scarlett. No cheeky early pools, so we might have a macro game. I don't know, ZVZ is really fun. I like ZVZ a lot. I think pretty much any matchup, especially the mirrors though, it's easy to overdo it. So if you end up with like 3 PvPs in a row or ZVZs in a row, you get kind of tired of it, kind of over it. I feel like I get less tired of the other matchups. But the mirror matchups, I feel like, get a little tiring kind of quickly because you end up seeing, like in 3 games, you see 6 Zerg openings, right? If you had 3 ZVZ games. So you just end up like going through a lot of Zerg quickly. And then you're like, I'm tired of Zerg now. That being said, there's a lot of excitement in ZVZ because you do get like Ling Bane battles, you get Roach battles, Ravagers, and then into like Lurkers. Might even get like Broodlords out. I love seeing Broodlord versus Broodlord in ZVZ. It's so rare, but it's so fun. You're like, all right, the Broodlings are doing nothing of consequence here in the middle of the map. It's awesome. But it is pretty rare to see late game ZVZ these days. I feel like most ZVZs end around the Roach phase. And if they go later, one player decides to just keep doing the Roach thing. The other player's like, I'm going to get to Lurkers and Vipers, and I'm going to have a stronger army. And then the other player's like,
I make Roach and I'll win. I'm going to keep hitting the Roach button.
they just have like too much stuff. Get cool like Burrow Tunneling Claws play. There's a lot of interesting things. There's also a lot that could happen pretty much at any given point. The thing about ZVZ that I think makes it really hard to play, but really fun to watch, is at any point, your opponent can just decide to try to kill you. It doesn't really work like that in other matchups. You need to have like prepared builds in order to hit specific timings with other races, right? With Protoss or Terran. It's really tough until you get later in the game and you have the production and you have the army out. It's really tough to just make that decision and go try and kill your opponent. But in ZVZ, like, Dark's just building 8 roaches. Or 8 lings right now, excuse me. Dark's just building 8 lings. Baneling Nest is finishing up. Could just go for 3 times that many lings and send them across the map. Right? He's got the larva for it and the money for it. And yeah, you know what? He's just going to keep building lings. But you know what? Scarlett's also just building lings. So it kind of ends up working out for Scarlett in this case, I think. But both players being fairly defensive with it for now. Scarlett did build a few more drones in there. She needs to be aware that this is coming. And I think the Overlord just spotted it. Now she's going to just try to defend with Ling Bane. Can be tough to defend with Ling Bane. You don't have as many places to run as your opponent, who's got the whole map to fall back on. Now it's all about trying to avoid the Banes with your Lings. Scarlett's going to have the Queens to help out. Dark's going to try to jump on top of those Queens. Baneling smashing into Banelings here. But the Queen's doing a good job focusing down those Banes. Scarlett keeping the Lings alive. And well, both players droning behind this. Scarlett has been a bit ahead in workers this whole time, though. So the last couple of minutes has been good for Scarlett for sure. since Dark started building Lings a little bit earlier. Still both players building Lings and Banes. Layers on the way now for Scarlett. I don't think Dark has a layer going on. Nope. Just building the Roach Warren. Roach Warren is done for Scarlett as well. So some Roaches could definitely come out here and make it a lot easier to defend these Lings and Banes. But I think right now, Scarlett was just trying to drone up first, get into that lair first, and now we see the Roaches on the way. And yes, Scarlett ahead in a lot of ways here over Dark. The one thing Dark has, is these Banelings trying to come in. That's a decent connection. Oh, that was really, really nice for Dark. Getting good Baneling on Baneling value. But again, the Roaches do come out and push this away. The one thing Dark really has going for him is this +1 missile attacks. And actually, Dark has somehow jumped way ahead in workers. You know, for a little... Wait, did 9 drones go down? Oh my god. How... I completely missed that. There must have been some Banelings that snuck into the third base here. Eventually even the main. And 9 drones went down. That is really, really good for Dark. I was wondering how Dark was suddenly 10 workers ahead. But that kind of explains it. So yeah, we see a big jump here for Dark in the income. Scarlett going for a Spire though, so not going to stick super hard on the Roaches, just keeping them for the ground fights, but hoping to get some damage done with the Mutas. Dark killing his own Bane Nest? Don't really understand why. Just to prove that he doesn't need it, I guess. Spire is scouted by Dark, but it is a little bit late as the meters are about to pop. Hydra Den goes down, but we're going to need to see some Spore Crawlers here. Spore Crawlers do build fairly quickly, so yeah, Dark going to drop them down, and he should be just fine. The scout on that Spire ended up being really, really nice, because by the time these meters get across the map, there should be a decent amount of defense. Some Hydras should be able to start coming out here right now. I think Dark's played this very, very well. There is +1 flyer attacks on the way, though, so Scarlett planning on going kind of heavy into these mutas. Dark is already preparing for this, though. This is the second Spore Crawler. Lurker Den goes down behind this as well, but no Hydras coming out yet. I feel like getting a few Hydras out would definitely be nice here. Okay, that flyer attack definitely tells us more and more mutas are going to be made. Roach is coming down here for Dark. I love that the mutas targeted down to Roach. Because you know what? This kind of damage doesn't really mean much. Roaches heal. It's just going to heal up. But if you target down a Roach, you get that guaranteed 1 kill. And 1 kill here, 1 kill there. It can start to add up, make a big difference. As we see, Scarlett is still on the bad end of that resources loss, but getting any kills is always good. Transfusing the Overlord does save it. Infestation bit going down as well, and I love this. I mean, I think this is crucial, obviously, for the Lurker upgrades. You got to get into the Hive. But I also feel like if you notice your opponent's going just heavy, heavy mutas, Scarlett's at 23 already. Getting a couple of Infestors out for Fungals, Vipers out once that Hive is done, Repair Bombs. Those are huge. Scarlett trying to hit on the top side, but those ones get shoved away. Seems to be enough down here to defend as well. Scarlett trying to poke and prod away in. So the thing is, if you're on Ling, Bane, Muta, which is what Scarlett's really going for right now, there are still some Roaches on the field, but Ling, Bane, Muta is the name of the game. You have to keep your opponent back. You have to out-expand them. You have to out-mine them. So the fact that while Scarlett has more drones, Dark is on 4 bases, that's a bit of a problem for Scarlett. Scarlett kind of wants to kill a base. She wants to keep Dark on the back foot, because if Dark gets in to enough Lurkers and enough Hydras to really take a fight, maybe a few Infestors, Scarlett's army starts to lose very quickly. I think the biggest thing here, though, is they're not seeing any Hydras. And as this army moves out, ooh, Burrow. I think she's realized it, though. She's chasing these units back. She just doesn't have the detection. There's no spore crawlers. And Dark's about to start popping up over on the 4th base, here on the 5th base. Looks like he wants to pop up on the 3rd base, too. But there's that Overseer. So nicely played with the Overseer. Scarlett knew exactly what was up. One of these roaches try to pop up now. God, there are so many mutas out here. 4 Vipers on the way for Dark, but 31 mutas are in the sky. And these roaches have gotten some decent damage, but Scarlett is still on a great worker count. And that was a lot of dead roaches. Look at this resources lost. It's still very, very close. There's a lot of roaches going down. No mutas have fallen yet, though. That's actually wild. I have a feeling that will change. Ooh, what was this? Scarlett went for Dropper Lords? See, 2 drones died. Maybe it was Lings. I guess it must have been Lings. That's kind of cool. That's fun. Scarlett now sharking through, taking down Spore Crawlers. Just needs to be so, so careful. Targeting down the Lurkers. I love that. Grabs 3 Lurkers, gets out of there. Has now lost a muta, but just the 1. The Vipers are going to be so, so scary here. Parasitic Bombs are very tough to split against, and even if you do it right, I feel like it's still a good chance of it getting big damage done. All right, Roaches and Lings going to drop into the main. There's 1 Lurker and a couple of Hydras here. I think Dark might be sending some other stuff up. It looks like he is, to try to prepare for this, but Scarlett's moving around the top side with the Lings. Now that these Lurkers died, they've been replaced, but they did die. 10 drones going down here. Mutas are still sharking around in the middle of the map, too. Good focus fire on the drones. There's obviously a lot of stuff lost for Scarlett, but Scarlett is also, she's been tacking up this whole time. Remember when I said Lingbane Muta needs to keep their opponent back economically? Well, it seems to be working as these mutas dive in. Some Parasitic Bombs do go off, but Dark's economy has been hurt quite significantly. And Scarlett's definitely been mining more this whole time, despite losing. Oh, she actually hasn't lost more anymore. Oh, that's very, very impressive. And only 7 mutas going down against all those spores, the multiple Parasitic Bombs. Scarlett doing a fantastic job here with the Lingbane Muta and comboing it into Vipers of her own, as well as multiple Ultras. Chitinous plating is on the way. +1 missile attacks on the way, too. That's kind of an interesting choice. I wonder what that +1 missile attacks is for. Oh, you know what? I guess it's for the Lurkers. Silly me. Silly me. 5 more Vipers on the way for Dark. Dark about to go up to 9 Vipers. Okay, so this is where things get a little bit wild. There's like a balance. Yes, if you have more Vipers, you can just like pull and pull and pull your opponent's units. Parasitic Bomb on the mutas is obviously going to be very good. But also, if you have so many Vipers, you're going to have less army. They're also very expensive, so if you lose them, it's kind of brutal. Muta's going to dive in and clear the way for the Baneling run by. Oh my god, the Parabombs. Muta's trying to kill the Vipers. They are getting on top of the Vipers, but so many Mutas are going to die to these Parabombs. And oh! Oh, these ones live! How do they live? Oh man, they barely made it. A lot of them did pop. And at the same time on the top side, Banes and Ultras trying to dive through. There are some nice blinding clouds here, but they only hit a couple of the Lurkers. Ultras just trying to bust their way through. And there's not enough to cover these Lurkers, it feels like, but there's no detection. So you know what? The Ultras are going to have to run away because they can't see the Lurkers. Mutas are starting to heal up over here. Scarlett going to replace with more Banes, more Lings, and more Ultras. Getting into those Lurker upgrades. Scarlett's still on a much higher drone count, but as both players are pretty much consistently maxed. That means a slightly lower army count. Dark is completely on the defense here. Scarlett, in the meantime, has her entire half of the map. Yeah, what is it? This is almost every base on her half of the map, except this one. 7 bases. Dark is on 5. So Dark's going to mine out a lot slower because the expansions are later, but of Dark. And force Scarlett to split some units off to try to deal with it. It's just too. And then she's got to leave again. This is kind of brutal, actually. Dark's lurkers doing such a great job. There are 16 Hydras on the way now for Scarlett, though. Where are those mutas? I know they're still around. Okay, they're just chasing down some overseers and stuff. But yeah, the 16 Hydras might just be turning into 16 lurkers here for Scarlett. I don't even know if she has Hydra upgrades. It doesn't look like it. Muta Ultra. I mean, what a combination. Dark going into a lot of Hydras right now, and I feel like that's actually not the right call. Unfortunately for Dark, because Scarlett is not continuing to make mutas. At least not at the moment. Scarlett's going to be heading into lurkers. Well, maybe made a mistake here is she's now supply capped and can't build any more lurkers. He's going to start morphing a couple more, but you know what? Dark actually spots this. That is a changeling. Oh my god. Oh, Baneling's trying to go for a run by. Not really getting the connections they were looking for. Doing a little bit of damage to the Hydras. Banelings might actually be nice against those Hydras in the long term. We are getting into late game. Guys, I asked for it. I wished for this. And there must have been a shooting star outside because my wish came true. We're getting a late game ZVZ. And there's actually a lot more that can happen. Dark has now taken a 6th base, but still has 2 more full bases on his side of the map he can take. Scarlett still hasn't taken this one. And has really only mined a little bit from this base. And not much more from this base. There's still a lot of mining potential, and things can get really wild. We're seeing high numbers of Vipers on both sides, high numbers on Lurkers on both sides. Dark's at 29. I will say Dark's late game ZVZ is spectacular. I haven't seen a lot of late game ZVZs really ever, but in the last maybe 6 months, I've seen Dark play late game ZVZ a few times. He just looks unstoppable. He gets to this late game situation. And who is he playing? I think Sue not too long ago. It just felt like Sue had no idea what to do against him. Anything he tried, Dark just completely shut down. But Scarlett's a lot more well set up than Sue was in that game. Ooh, there's a nice couple of parabombs here on Dark's stuff. Dark's going to split this around, though. Going to take some damage, actually. A lot of friendly fire, a lot of splash damage going down here, and a lot of Viper. Yeah, I don't know. A lot lost across the board there in that fight, but ultimately the resources lost is shockingly close, I think, with how long this game has gone. Scarlett's bank is a lot bigger. She's also lost more. That's all due to the fact that she's had more drones and has been mining more this whole time. As the game gets longer, that is going to be a bit of a problem for her because she's going to mine out a lot quicker. And again, Dark is super well set up to be as cost efficient as possible. And even little things like that, it may not seem like much, but if we get to the point where both players are struggling to get any sort of money, that's going to be huge. An Overseer kill here, a Lurker kill there. those little things, they add up. This is nice, though. Forces an immediate cancel. Dark not allowed to take that base. And in the meantime, Scarlett has taken this base and has so far secured it. And Scarlett's been so much better about diversifying what she's going for. And now we've got the Nidus about to pop. We've got Ultras in the Nidus. That means this one Lurker is not going to be particularly useful here. And I love the use of the Mutas to spot this as well, because you can't just send like a couple of units to deal with the Nidus, because the Mutas can help protect it. You know what, these Ultras are all super low, so the Ultras just straight up die. I was like, this one Lurker isn't going to be enough. Dude, this Lurker is absolutely saving the day right now. A few Hydras show up to help it out, but yeah, the Ultras all get taken down. Dark did lose something there, though. Ooh, we got yoinks. We got yoinks. What was that? I guess the Hydra Den went down. That's about it. That's like the only building. I keep wondering what these are. They're changelings. Ah, Scarlett not being super careful here. Gonna grab a couple of Lurkers maybe, but Dark's Lurkers are just taking good trades. Ah, and there's the yoinks, the counter yoinks. Scarlett wasn't ready to drop a parasitic bomb on these guys or go for the yoinks on Dark's Vipers. Dark's late game has just been so good. We see 12 drones going down at the same time as Lurkers are just kind of spread out. It's just a couple Lurkers, not a huge investment from Dark, but he's getting great damage done. This Spinecrawler is about to die, so as this Lurker burrows again, you can see that Spinecrawler go down. Dark just stopping mining at this space from being even possible right now. 14 drones going down really isn't that big of a deal. We see Dark's down to 50, and I think he's pretty okay with that. Like, I feel like 50 is a solid spot to be in at this point in the game. As you start to mine out, as you start to build a bank, you want that bigger army. You want to get more Spore Crawlers up. I'd love to see Scarlett spread creep forward, because one thing I'm noticing is every time they take an engagement, Scarlett is off creep, and Dark has this creep, has these Spore Crawlers. Scarlett definitely has the ability to start spreading some of that creep. Oh my god, where's the detection, please? Start spreading some of that creep towards Dark. And I understand creep obviously gives a buff to your enemy's units as well, but in terms of vision and in terms of getting your Spore Crawlers in position, creep is so important. Scarlett's going to come up and try to stop this base from coming up again. However, she's hitting from a few different angles here, and it's not working out super well for her. We're going to see a yoink, but she stops the base. Once again, killing that drone. I love that Dark made a single drone with the specific purpose of building that hatch. Oh, yeah, and a couple more yoinks going down here. Oh, that Lurker gets away. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yoinks all over the place. Abducts everywhere. Scarlett has 12 Vipers. Oh, my God. A lot of Hydras just went down there for Scarlett, but... Ah. Yeah, man. Dark is actually taking so much better trades here. It looks like the Mutas might have gone down as well. Dark has now gone into Lings, and now that he took down a lot of the static defense, he's sending all these Lings around. He says Spine Crawlers. I don't really care about Spine Crawlers. Scarlett does have some Lurkers in position to deal with it at this hatch, but there's a lot of damage going down. Drones are about to start dying. Oh, you know what? I kind of lied to you, actually. Those Lings are on +2 melee, so they do have a decent amount of damage going on. But a great cleanup from Scarlett. All those units bought just enough time for the rest of the units to show up. Like, all the Spine Crawlers bought enough time for the rest of the units to show up. There's no detection here. This is actually a problem for... Oh, no. Oh, I lied again. Scarlett has detection. Man, she is dealing with this so well. Few Lings are finding a spot. Parasitic Bombs, though, going off at the same time. Scarlett losing a few Vipers, but still has quite a few more. And Dark's kind of just got to run home with his Vipers. I think that went a lot better for Scarlett than anybody really expected it to. This covers a long period of time. Scarlett was way down, and I think actually evened it up a lot with those run-bys, as a lot of Lings went down. 54 Lings were made and killed. A few Lurkers. 18 Lurkers getting killed. That's actually huge as well. Oh, it's reset. It has reset now. And Dark stopped from taking this base. It looks like he's going to maybe get this one secured, as he is really working on that. But this is a crucial base. Dark's been mining at these bases for kind of a long time, and he's really starting to run dry on minerals, even running dry on gas at some of these fringe bases. He needs a new base up. He needs to get these drones somewhere a little bit more efficient. And as we see, Scarlett's bank is massive, mostly in minerals right now, but overall, it is massive. 11K, 2K. She does need to keep on mining from these gases. These gases are crucial. Clearing down some rocks now. Dark has traded significantly better, but because he's mined so much less, thousands and thousands and thousands less, this is still a good spot for Scarlett. Yoinks all over the place here. Kind of hard to tell who's doing better. I think that one was relatively even. Yeah, pretty even trade back and forth. But again, it is slightly better for Dark. I should note, there's been a lot of these mostly even trades that are slightly better for Dark. And as Scarlett tries the Nidus again, Dark is just absolutely on top of it. Stops that Nidus from coming up. So well done, man. Dark is really on top of this, and the defense everywhere seems to be pretty stellar. Scarlett's defense, though, has been quite good also. And as these lurkers try to find a way in, it looks like Dark just shift queued him, but he is moving in as well. He decides to pull the trigger, and I actually don't like this at all, because if Scarlett is able to clear this, man, that is a big if, though. Look at how many lurkers are here. Dark finds a nice position. I don't think he can get out, though, can he? He's got some lurkers and hydras and vipers on the backside. He's got lurkers on the front side. But Scarlett's lurker army is just gone. There's 18 more hydras on the way. But where are the lurkers? And GG gets called despite having 11K, 2K in the bank. Dark just moves forward to the middle of the production, and hydras were dying as they popped. Scarlett couldn't handle the multiple facets of that attack, and maybe just wasn't expecting Dark to march right in like that. Ended up kind of a weird position with army on both sides, and couldn't get that army up that she really needed. Dark ends up taking it. And, I mean, that is wild. Dark's late game ZVZ is just so strong. Scarlett has had so much money in the bank. It does make me wonder if, like, at the end there, could Scarlett have gone for something like a big flock of mutas? She had like 2K gas. I wonder if instead of replacing the hydras and lurkers that were dying with more hydras, which were just going to pop out and die, and really hydras do just terribly against lurkers. Generally speaking, you keep the hydras out to shoot up at the vipers that you abduct in. But I wonder if like a big muta switch would have really caught Dark off guard. Those lurkers can't do anything to the mutas. I think at that point it might have been too late, though. Once that next round of hydras was coming out, Scarlett was just kind of panic building things. Man, what an absolute banger of a game one. Let's hop into game number 2 here. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner is the late game Zerg Master. Dragon Kitesy Gaming. It's Dark. And so far he has looked untouchable in that late game. So let's see if his opponent decides to try to end it early this time. In the upper right-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion, she is Scarlett. I would love to see some earlier game shenaniganry, but we'll see if Scarlett decides to go for that. She does often like to. It's funny, Scarlett's one of those players that I feel like historically has either tried to get to super late game and has some of the best like ultra late game games of all time, but also has had some of the best cheese wins of all time. It's kind of wild, the like dichotomy of what Scarlett has won with. Do you remember Scarlett versus Maru in WESG? I think it was like 2018, maybe. They had like a super, super long series. Crazy, crazy base trade games. And like, not even base trade. Like the map completely mined out. But then also that year, she won IEM Pyeongchang by just cheesing SOS so hard that the Overlord drop got nerfed. That's one of the things I love about Scarlett's play. You really never know which one's about to show up. So I hope we see something like that here. I would love to see it. I don't know, a cheeky fun build. At the same time, this map is the map that so far in this season I've seen the most late game Zerg happen on. I feel like I've seen a couple of late game ZVZs on this map. That Dark won. But also some like even late game TVZs. This map has brought the late games. So we might be just seeing another one here. I would not be sad about that either. I'd love to see if Scarlett adjusts at all based on last game. But what is there even to adjust? Dark just got so settled on late game so early. I think as soon as he saw the mutas, right? Like he was getting into Hydras and Lurkers and Hive immediately. And it felt like right from then, he was like, okay, 1 Spore Crawler, 2 Spore Crawlers, 3. Just going to put down a bunch because I'm going to need these later on anyways. He's like, you have more bases than me? I don't really care. I'm going to be efficient, and I'm going to slowly push out and take the next base, and slowly push out and take the next base. And Scarlett mined out so much of her half of the map, had so much money in the bank, and it just ended up not mattering. And I don't think we're going to get there because Dark is building 20 Lings. There is a possibility this game ends up going late, but Scarlett needs to not die right now, and that's a hard thing to do. The Bane Nest is done, but no Banes are being morphed right now. Queens and Lings trying to find nice positions to fight in, but where are the Banelings? No defensive Banelings for Scarlett. The drones are fighting in the main. Oh, no, and it feels like Dark is just going to overrun with Lings. Scarlett didn't see this, didn't get the wall off in time, and Dark gets a super fast game too, and that is also the most Dark thing in the world to be like, late game, nah, let's see if I can just bust her with Lings. And I think his initial Lings blocked the wall from going down, and that meant the follow-up was just basically unstoppable.